morning. Back on the bank on this beautiful spring morning. It's April. It's time for our April edition of the 12 months of carp. We're keeping it going. March, oh my gosh, March was tough, but what a bang we ended that on. It was so good, so much fun. Goldie knocked it out of the park, and we're back in that same location. We didn't really want to fish here today, even though the fish are here. We did have the objective of fishing the rivers, but we've had so much rain over the last 3 days that the water levels are way up. The current is way too strong to make it fishable, so we had to stay off the river today and thought, what a great day for a social. We've got Clint, we've got Demir, we've got Brian, we've got Dave, there's Goldie and I. Everybody's coming out today to enjoy the beautiful weather we're getting this spring, and fish are already rising. So we've been here for a few hours. There's not been any bumps or takes yet, but they are showing. The bait's out, the rigs are out, everything's on point, and we're going to get into them. Stick with us as we continue for April.
Here you go. You lost him.
Okay.
Picture of that spawn, like right before it hit the water, but no ripples on the water yet. If you zoom right in, you see the spawn sitting just above the surface, but no ripples on the water yet.
You gotta stick on the tree. It'd be a spawn.
Oh, did it come up on this?
No, it's on the tree. It's stuck on the tree. But in the water. Are you going in? Where'd it go?
Why is he in the water? You got your spawn stuck in the tree?
My spawn stuck in the ground.
And now Goldie's naked and in the pond.
Goldie, Goldie!
You might have to untie it.
To the right, to the right. You know what? Just actually cut the line. Better.
If you let line out, he can walk it right into us.
1 second, 1 second. Goldie, Goldie.
You can walk it right into us. Yeah. Is it tied or is it looped on?
No, it's looped on.
You should be able to just undo the loop.
Goldie, bring it here.
He's got it. Nuts. You just needed an excuse to swim, didn't you?
Well, at least we got some excitement today.
All because the wind took your line in the tree.
I know. Unbelievable.
I guess that's what happens when you cast 120 yards. Is it not looping out?
That's because of actually you, because the fish were showing over there. So
Okay, I'm going to get you some scissors. Just watch out for his line there.
Yeah, just grab the scissors. Give me the scissors.
You're not gonna lose another one, Steve.
Wow, I bet you that water's freezing.
He wouldn't notice.
Do you have any feeling to his legs?
No.
Oh my god. I think we...
You're the hero today.
You already lost one of these. Can't lose another one.
What a beast. Amazing how they fight like a 20-pound fish, eh? Good afternoon. We're back in our upper river spot, and finally we've got some decent weather. It's something like 18 degrees today, and we're in the first weekend of April. Kind of hard to believe, since Thursday we had about 30 millimeters of rain, 40 millimeters of rain hit over the course of the day, only to be followed up with 5 inches of snow that fell on Friday, all of which melted yesterday. So the rivers, the ponds, all of those spots that we would normally think to go to are really, really high water from all the runoff. So the best place to possibly go for a chance at a bite, upper river. Even when it's high water, it can still produce really well. So we've decided to come out just for a short session. I've got my son with me today, so we're gonna, just put in 2 or 3 hours at the most and really hope for a quick bite. And speaking of quick bite, we're also joined by my good buddy Kevin, who you've seen before in some of the previous videos. Yeah, he got down about just over an hour before us, and he's already had a fish out. So, yeah, it looks really good. I threw a few spoms out over my line and over Goldie's line. We put our baits out. So we're hoping that something will come along real quick. Kevin keeps getting these little pickups using his setup. So I think it's just a matter of time. So while we wait for our first bite, why don't you take a look at this quick little bit of footage that Kevin captured with his action cam just before we got here. And yeah, you'll see he got a decent little fish, about 8 to 10 pounds. And hopefully we'll get another one soon. So check this out, and we'll be back shortly. 2013. So, just as a reminder, Kevin, for the 12 months of carp, I'm supposed to get a 20 pounder. But what a gorgeous fish, that chestnutty color. Nice, nice fish. Okay, I'm gonna snap a few pictures and then we'll get that fish. Are you getting in there, Zayner? Nice.
Yeah, that's 10, 12.
About 10 for sure. Maybe a little bit 12 because he's really fat, eh? They're all fat.
Tail on
The size of my hand.
Nice.
Massive.
Nice fish.
Okay, so if you lift him up, I'll move the net. We'll get him a long ways in the mat. Okay, I want to cut Kevin off. I say he's done. Like no more fish for Kevin.
One more cast.
One more cast. Goldie and I are being royally spanked right now. This is Kevin's 5th fish today. The 4th one since we've been here. They've all been really solid, fat, quality fish, good, healthy fish. And it's you using a new rig for the first time today.
Yes, sir.
So Goldie, you and I have to step up the game, and I think we're going to send him home. What do you think?
I believe so.
Yeah, it's time for him to go. bite of the day. Finally, after Kevin pulled out 5 fish in front of us. Multi-rig perfectly nailed the bottom lip. Oh, did you see how that fell out? I get a chance to rid the waistling because I need to see how big this fish is. Goldie, this is a good fish. $22.8.
22.8?
Yes! The chest on this fish is unbelievable. What a fish. Oh. I've got my first 20 of the year. So our 12 months of carp challenge has got me off the mark in 2 ways for April, and it's Goldie's turn now. And he's already had 2 good pickups, or 3 good pickups. Now he's been sneaky. He's fishing to the right of us, and he baited up half of our bag of corn over there over his spot when we weren't looking. So I'm sure he's gonna get some more activity over there. What a fish. Give you one more look. We're gonna take a few photos, and then we're gonna put this big boy back, and hopefully we'll get Goldie his fish. Wow. Okay, so literally Kevin left. I put 3 spalms on the spot, and boom, finally got a bite, and it was my 20 pounder of the month. So April, I'm off the mark. So I want to do a quick talk about the rig, because we have to leave in about 20 minutes. So hopefully Goldie will get a fish in that time. But yeah, it was supposed to be a 2 or 3 hour session, and we've been here, what, like 5 hours? So we really got to get going. So a little bit of rig tubing instead of my usual leg core. A little 2-ounce dice lead, quick link to my hook link, or quick change swivel to my hook link. Split shot halfway. So I was using pop-ups earlier. There's a rooster here. I was using pop-ups and I couldn't get a touch. And since Kevin was using such a simple rig, you know, a method feeder, a piece of pop-up corn, and a piece of maize, and that was it. And he nailed 5 fish right beside us. So I switched to a piece of pop-up corn, 4 pieces of the Monster Carp licorice corn, and it's multi-rigged on to I used a larger rig ring this time just to have a little bit of extra weight when I was using the pop-ups. For some reason I just like the way that sits this time. So size 4 hook, universal perfection, multi-rig to the quite a long hair of bait, but that's what did it. I switched to that. It was my first cast in that spot with the corn on there, and then yeah, it was just a matter of waiting for that chance to get a few spods over it, and it hammered it. So now Goldie has also shifted his line left. I'm gonna put another cast over that spot. We've literally got 20 minutes left. Hopefully we can get a bite in that time for Goldie, because we're gonna be packing up and getting ready to leave. So April, conquered. Goldie, your turn.
Right in bed.
small and its head shaking. Really hard bite though. What is it? It's small. Really scrappy though. It's a real fish. It's a big one too. But it's not a carp. Well now. Not expected, but welcome. Doesn't really help much with our 12 months of carp, but I guess it's a good thing I conquered mine with the last session. Goldie's still waiting for his carp, but we've only had our lines in the water about 15 minutes. And I literally just said, like half a second before this bite came, that I'm gonna recast because I'm not confident with how my bait's sitting. And boom, PB Rudd. I had a couple of nice ones last summer, but I've never seen one quite this big. So I'm quite pleased with that. Beautiful fish, bright red tips on the fins. Nice little scales. They're really pretty fish. But we are here for Goldie to get his carp, so we'll stop messing around, and we'll probably talk about our bait choices in a little while, maybe after it gets dark. We're just out for an afternoon session. But let's get Goldie his fish, because he needs one badly. Getting late. We've been here 3.5 hours or so. It was just a quick after work session. Lucky enough I did get that that rudd, but you know, today's a really cold day. The last session it was almost 20 degrees and today it's 3. So we've pretty much packed everything up. I know I said I was going to do a rig talk. It's dark, it's late, it's cold. I want to get home. So we are back here in, I think, 3 days. We're coming back to this spot. We're going to do a morning session. Goldie will have that that next chance at getting his April fish. So yeah, the only thing left to bring in is the lines, and I'm really hoping that something will go off in the next few minutes, because the wind has died right down. The water's flattened right out. It looks perfect for a night bite, but we just don't have the time to stay. So we're going to bring those in, and we'll do a rig discussion during the next session. Again, like I said, we'll be here in the morning, so it'll be probably just after sunrise if we're not too busy catching fish. We'll go over the rig, because I was using a new bait today, one that I have never used before, but I know it really does well. And yeah, 10 minutes after putting that new bait out, I got a fish. So we'll go over all that soon. But for now, we'll pack it in and head home.
Good for now.
Alright, not bad. morning. A lovely Easter weekend morning. It really is probably the best conditions we've had to be out yet for a morning start. Temperature's just right. Water has been glass calm. We got here just at sunrise, so we've been here about 2 hours. The bird life is amazing. There's bait fish rising everywhere. There's crayfish in the shoreline, and we've had a couple of little liners. The fish are rising, not just kind of out in the open, but there's been a few rise over the bait as well. So we're really hoping that Goldie will get his fish today, but that's entirely up to him. His tactic, you know, we just changed his rig. We'll talk about that later. He changed his bait. We'll talk about that later because he did something a little bit unique. I have gone back to the pop-up. Right now I have a CC Moore pop-up on there, and I'm hoping that'll get me a fish. You know, it got me that 3-pound rudd for the last session out, but I really want a nice big carp on the pop-up. I know they like particles here. We know we're going to catch on particles here, but I really want to get the boilie tactics or the pop-up tactics working. So I'm going to be trying some more traditional kind of boilie pop-up tactics myself. Goldie's going to stick with the particle, and he's pretty much sticking to that same spot that he's been fishing each time we've been here. It's right at the edge of a drop, kind of shallow flat on one side, shallow flat back into the other side, and then this little deep hole that he's kind of at the edge of, and the fish are rising there, so we know they're going to go through. So hopefully things will kick off soon and Goldie will be able to conquer April, and then we can move on to some other projects, because the longer it takes him to get his monthly fish, the less videos we can do. I'm hanging this over your head, Goldie.
Thanks.
Alright, so we're going to finish the coffee, kick back and enjoy the rest of the morning start, and then we're going to get into some talking about rigs, about baiting strategies, because we are doing something different in April than we've been doing previously throughout the winter and kind of start of the spring. And yeah, should be an exciting day. As promised, I mentioned in the last session, just as we were packing up that night, that I would do a bit of a rig talk, specifically revolving around the rig that caught that nice big rudd. But believe it or not, that was the same rig that I got that 22-pounder with a few slight changes. So right now, out there we've got a nice bottom bait rig, and I'm really trying to get a fish on a traditional bottom bait. You know, Goldie's still rocking the particle. But nothing's happened yet. A few bumps first thing, but you know, we're just waiting for something to come in, and now that the clouds are pushing in, maybe something will happen. But as far as the rig goes, with the last session, I have it right here. Now, it's just a very short section of the Ace coated hook link in green. We got a little anti-tangle sleeve in green. The water here is crystal clear, and while it is a little bit gravelly and a little bit clay on the bottom, there is a lot of green weed still there, you know, just like mossy weed on the rocks and things like that. I really want this to blend in well. So a little green anti-tangle sleeve just to cover up the quick link swivel. A single split shot, it's about buckshot size, and a slightly longer than normal loop for my multi-rig. The reason being is I was switching out different size hooks, trying to find what would balance right with the bait that I was using. So for the last session, this is exactly as it was. We have a size 8 Universal Perfection Monster Carp tackle hook tucked into that Gardner hook aligner on this multi-rig. And I have a relatively large Ace Gorilla rig ring that's connecting the hair with a CC Moore Northern Specials pop-up in yellow. 10 minutes in the water and it took that rut in the last session. So, you know, quite impressed with this right off the bat. Just need to get some carp with it. And this is what did the business. This is the exact same hook link that took the 22-pounder. The only difference is the hook bait. At the time when we got that fish, we were using some monster carp tackle licorice lust corn, and I mean, you've seen in previous videos, we've caught on that corn everywhere we've used it, getting really aggressive fish, big fish, small fish. It just does it all. It works. So knowing that this was a particle spot, or kind of realizing it was a particle spot after Kevin gave us that spanking, catching 5 fish right next to us, it just seemed like that was the logical choice, was to throw that corn on. And with that corn, because it was a relatively long hair at the time, you know, 4 or 5 pieces plus a piece of plastic corn, I was using a size 4 hook. Again, universal perfection, but much bigger hook than I have on here now, and you know, hence the longer loop. And did the job. It was the only bite I had that day, and it produced my 20 for April. So a very, very simple rig, keeping with the multi-rig tactics, and it did the business again in the last session for that nice little rud. So my part of the challenge for April's done, so I get to experiment again. I put the multi-rig away. I've gone to a traditional hair rig, which is out there now, fishing for, you know, just a bottom bait, not really focusing on a bite at a time. We're going to talk about the baiting strategy in a little while. We're just waiting for these clouds to roll in and see if something happens, but we will talk about that. Now, Goldie's rig is very similar, except instead of being a multi-rig, it's identical in every way, except his is in gravel brown, and he has a relatively short hair, just KD style, tied onto a size 8 hook as well. So his bite should be coming any time. We hope. But yeah, simple rig. It's done the business. It's caught me 2 fish so far in April, and I'm looking forward to using these Northern Special pop-ups a little bit more. Once I put the liquid on, I let it soak, and I opened the jar in my basement, and yeah, my whole basement for like the rest of the day has smelled like Northern Special pop-ups. I told my wife that I'm going to buy like 10 jars of these and just place them strategically through the house, and then every now and then just open one for 5 minutes, close it, and the house will smell amazing. She doesn't like that idea. I may still do it. But there's a rig talk. Very, very simple setup, keeping with the multi-rig tactics. It's working. Let's see if we can get the fish to play along. Where's your fish, Goldie?
That's the birds. I think they're scaring them.
They're not diving on the bait, though.
They're not.
Since it's slow, and we're still waiting for that first take of the day, you know, the weather's turned a bit on us, but I think it's turned in our favor. I mentioned I would talk about our baiting technique, and this has kind of been the process we've been using through April. Started with that big social session that you would have seen the first session of April. That's when I brought this spod rod out for the first time this year. And I have to say, I got this last October. You would see, if you've seen the unboxing video, the Spot edition. I got this from Carp Kit back in October. It's the Black Widow 4.5 test curve spod rod. I've coupled that with a Witchwood Dispatch 7500 series reel, which I absolutely love. It's got 30-pound braid as the main line on it, and then I've got a 20-pound Maxima shock leader on here to a MIDI SPOM. Now you've seen me use the mini spom in some of the other videos previously. Absolutely love that little guy, but it just doesn't deliver the bait the way I need it to. Now as I was learning how to spot and properly use this rod, it's a lot heavier than I'm accustomed to. I did manage to lose a couple of spoms, both Jacob's and Demir's, in practicing. And I think mainly because they were larger spoms, I had them fully loaded, and I wasn't really ready to go to that level yet. So I scaled it down, and I've gotten really comfortable using this thing. I'm completely comfortable casting this to 80, 90 yards already, you know, and it's only been a few sessions. So right now we are clipped up, fishing straight out from us now. I have been fishing left, but we had a boat come in, disturb the area a bit. So I've moved to a spot I've been baiting and just kind of leaving alone. And this is really the smartest thing we can do for April. You know, the fish are moving in smaller groups. They're starting to feed a little bit more competitively, and getting that bed of bait down there, we find is really helping. We may not have caught many fish so far, but we are seeing lots and lots of signs, and it's quite promising to tell us that this is working. So I'm doing a slightly different mix than normal, and if you can see it from here, you got a lot of different colors in there. What I did is I boiled up some maize. What was that? I did about 18 pounds of it a few weeks back, and I flavored some of it. You know, a little bit of strawberry. That's given us this bright orange, reddish colored corn. I mixed some with the tiger nut and pineapple liquids, give them a little bit of a sweet flavor to them, and then just left some as it was. I've also got different types of bird food mixed in there, some maple peas, and you know, a little bit of ground bait just to kind of stodge it up a bit. So that's been the bait that we've been using and drawing the fish in. And we're hoping that it'll really turn them on today. You know, they might just not have moved in on us yet. It's hard to say. We saw some activity early, but you know, still need that take. But really, you know, once you get yourself a proper spawning setup, you know, and like I said, I'm still relatively new to it. It takes some practice. Don't just jump into the biggest spom or biggest spot you can get, load it right up and start blasting it out there. You know, start small. Start with the mini or the midi spom. Load it half full. Load it with water, just something to get used to the casts out there, and I think that'll help big time. Now, one other tip I'll offer, and this is something I just learned by trial and error as I'm practicing. I find that with the spom, I tend to do a very direct cast. So its flight path is very much a straight line, and it almost lays on its side when it gets out there. Come on. So when it lands on its side, it doesn't actually open. Now with a regular spot, that might be all right, you know, as it'll tip down and spill out, but I really like the spom, and to get that out there accurately, I'm finding I'm having to adjust the way I cast so it goes in more of an arc and lands nose down. So you may have seen, you know, 4 or 5 casts in a row I'll do, and it just won't open up. Again, just takes a little bit of practice. Get used to getting that arc into your cast so that it opens every time. Come on, you gonna get a bite or what? Let's go. I think that's all we need for now. A couple of spoms over the spot just to freshen it up. I put about 6 spoms over there earlier and never put a line on it until about 20 minutes ago. So it sat there empty for quite a while. Hopefully the fish would go in, grab a bite, move out, and then when my rig goes back out there, when they come back in, it'll be ready to get them. Here's hoping. Seems the day's pressing on quite a bit. Unfortunately, no fish. It is 1 o'clock, so we've put in some hours. We've been here since just before sunrise, so just before 6 a.m. And yeah, other than a little bit of activity early on, there's really been nothing happening. You know, just down the bank from us, there's you know, a couple of guys over there fishing, some of them with their kids. Getting some family fishing time in. They're all catching perch over there following the schools of minnows. No signs of the carp. I really did think that we were going to catch. The conditions were perfect all morning, even with this rain that's come in now and hitting a little bit harder than we thought. You know, I really was quite confident we were going to get a bite, but we've just done our last casts, so we're going to be packing up shortly, heading home, getting some lunch, and you know, refining our gear down. We're going to be changing up tactics. We're going to be trying another spot this evening. We're technically going to film a completely different video using some other tactics, but it is still April, and if Goldie catches, it will still count. So if he manages to fish this evening, we'll be piecing in a little bit from that session into this video. If he doesn't, oh well, we're going to have to do something about him, because we were scouting that spot the other night and there was probably about 200 fish in front of us, all about a foot under the surface, just middling along, right underneath some of the floating debris and stuff like that. You know, you could tell that they were just picking at the bugs and the larvae that were coming through. So we've got a few different ideas of what to try. We might try some chotties, we might try some zigs, might even try some floaters. But yeah, we're gonna go do an evening session at this spot, and it's looking really promising. So, unless we catch here in the next 20 minutes or so, that'll be the end of this session. We're moving on to what will be, I guess, session 5 for April this evening. Hopefully, things will go a little bit better.
So, we're now in evening. Our day sort of got rained out. We got tired, we got wet, we needed to go home. So we came down to the little pond here. We're trying different rigs. We're going to talk about that in a second. And I did it. I got my April fish. Beautiful, beautiful color. 6-7 pounds maybe.
I think you're pushing it for 7. 5 or 6 for sure.
No, 7. But yeah, beautiful cut. So dark.
That's the beauty of the park lake, man. They're old, dark fish.
Yeah, so my April now is conquered. We were a little worried this morning because we were blanking hard and the weather got all nasty on us. But the sun came out, blue sky. So we thought, hey, we should try again tonight. So here we are. And I got my April fish. So April is now conquered for both of us.
Great, so now maybe we can actually finish filming the segment that we're actually here to film. Okay. 5 sessions. 5 sessions is what it took to conquer April. So both Goldie and I have caught our April fish, and you know, very, very pleased. I managed to get one of my 20s, so I've got 5 more 20s to go, and hopefully that'll be in succession over the next 5 months. Because if I need to get it 20 and it's getting into November, December, it's going to be really tough. I didn't catch November of last year. So we can only hope that things keep going well. And you know, what a way to finish You know, we got rained out this morning, as Goldie mentioned, and it was just nasty weather that came in on us. After we had conditions that seemed absolutely perfect, you know, just blanked so hard this morning. And then we get here, we did a walk around the park lake because we're here to film another segment for a separate video. And, you know, first time using the tactic, first time using that specific bait, first time fishing the park lake for Goldie, and I didn't even have myself tied up. I had the pop up on the baiting needle, and I didn't even get it to the rig ring yet, and his rod rips off after about 20 seconds in the water. So I don't know if that's just killer luck, or if we're in for a real treat shooting the segment we're here to do today. But wow, April, conquered, done. On to May. Hey, for more videos like you just saw, just click on the links right over here. And to subscribe to our channel and keep up with the latest updates and newest videos, just click the logo on the screen.